Hey everyone, this is your instructional support team coming to you with the next section of MTSS. We're going to be talking about the driving forces today as far as we have exceptional children's services, the multi-tier system support, which we've already been discussing, the MTSS model, data analysis, Onslow County B PLCs, and then the standard division documents that are supporting our PLCs. So the first thing we're going to talk about are exceptional services. Here at this campus, you have your EC coach, which is me, Frances Turner, and you also have your EC lead teacher, which is Rosemary Adams. One of the things that we think about every time we have an IEP meeting or we start talking about our vision for the future for our students is where are our students going to end up whenever they leave Swansboro Middle School. So there's a couple different ways for students to get diplomas at the high school level, and just something for you to be aware of. There's two different tracks for a North Carolina high school diploma. The first one is the occupational course of study. The second one that you're looking at is the occupational course of study, and the first one is the Future Ready course of study. The Future Ready course of study is where most of our students are going to be whenever they go to high school. They're going to be on the regular track, that's college and career ready, mostly college ready, I will say. And then you have the occupational course of study, which is really getting students ready for the workforce. Occupational course of study, as a guideline, we look at students who have between a 50 to 70 IQ and functioning range. So these are going to be your kind of your middle of the road kids. And then the last section you'll see is the moderate to severe level, which is the adaptive curriculum. That's like Chrissy Taylor's class. And those are our students that are going to be getting a certificate of attendance, and we're going to say thank you for being in Onslow County Schools for 13 or 15 years, and they're not going to be getting a diploma. Anyone under a 50 IQ functioning range is usually when we start looking at the Extend 1 is what you'll commonly hear it referred to. So something to think about is where are our students with autism, and where are students who need behavior support, where are our learning disabled students, and really the answer to that is they're everywhere. They're in all three of these different diploma tracks, they're in all of our classes, and it's something that as classroom teachers we can't just say, oh well, there's an autism classroom, there's a behavior classroom. Not anymore. They're everywhere, and we're all going to have to be experts on these types of students and their behaviors. So our program focus for the Exceptional Children's Services in Onslow County is that right now we over-identify in this county just as a practice, and we've done it for years and years and years, and so we need to kind of reel that in. So our focus this year is we're not going to over-identify EC students. A lot of times there's more factors than, when it comes to a student and how they learn, and not necessarily that everyone's learning disabled. It could be a lot of factors such as attendance or many military moves. So just something to think about. Also, are our EC students in the appropriate course of study? So are we looking at, are they going to be occupational student? Are they going to be going to college? Are they adaptive? Are our students meaningfully included in their school and community? Are they taught by highly qualified teachers? Are they making progress on their IEP goals? Are they also making progress in the content? Because our IEP goals and the content that we teach, they need to align. Are we as middle school teachers helping to make progress towards graduation? And are we helping them to see what their opportunities will be post-high school, so post-secondary?
So what's the actual definition of a multi-tiered system of support? The North Carolina definition says that it's a multi-tiered framework which promotes school improvement through engaging, research-based, academic, and behavioral practices. Does this sound familiar to you? MTSS employs systems approach, using data-driven problem solving to maximize growth for all. Isn't that what we ultimately want for all of our students? Every North Carolina pre-K through 12 public education system implements and sustains all components of a multi-tiered system of support to ensure college and career readiness for all students. It's not enough to be proficient That's not enough anymore. We want our students to be ready for college, successful in the career of their choice. The Department of Public Instruction believes that MTSS is the most effective and efficient approach to improving school outcomes and student performance, thereby ensuring equitable access to a sound basic education. That, folks, is our job description. Here is a beautiful graphic of what the multi-tiered system of support looks like when we compile leadership and policy teams K through 12, and truly we should say pre-K through 12. So have your state in the center, main cog of the many spokes and wheels that are turning in support of the state's implementation of MTSS. Riding along in my automobile, plenty of support beside me at the wheel. So how does this look different than other approaches in the past? We keep saying we've been doing this, now we need to do it better. Well, the critical components are, of course, leadership. Our building capacity. Y'all, I moved here in 1987. That's right, came right after I left the manger scene. And building capacity has been an obstacle for us since 1987. I think we've built 10 schools just in my tenure. And that's just a guesstimate. I bet it's more than that. The infrastructure for implementation, we have to have a plan for that. We don't just say, you know, we need smaller class size, poof, it happens. I don't know if you figured that out yet. Communication and collaboration. Have we been communicating in the past? Have we been working together? Yes. Could we do better? Boy, could we. One of the ways we'll do that is by documenting how we have systems of support in place and how are we implementing and integrating that support. Database problem solving. If attendance is a problem, we certainly have lots of attendance data. How are we going to solve that problem? How are we going to decrease checkouts? How are we going to decrease tardies? How are we going to increase attendance on, say, test day? Ooh, anybody have those students? Always absent, always check out early. A sudden onset of a migraine on a day when they knew you were giving a test. How can we use data to solve that problem? Maybe offer cookies if everybody is present on the day that we take the test. 3-tiered instruction, intervention models, and then data evaluation. So if all it takes is cookies to improve attendance on test day, you can bet we're going to be hooking up with some cookies. Parents are going to be sending them in. We're going to be sending letters to Walmart asking for free cookies. And there's other things. I mean, you can use your surf cards, Creek Cash, bonus bucks, whatever you want to call it, stickers, just some type of support. The purpose of gathering data is to inform a change. So RTI, you'll recognize response to intervention. PBIS, who amongst us does not have a special affinity for those 4 letters together? A multi-tiered system of support supports both academics and behaviors. Certainly, if we need to intervene in academics, we have PEPs, 504s, IEPs, DEPs, yes, AIG is a part of MTSS, and we certainly need to intervene if there's a behavior problem.
So in the classroom, is it possible that we teach academics, but we sometimes fail to teach behaviors? And I will say that in my own classroom, that happened all the time. One day I hit on academics, one day I hit on behaviors. So would we not say to a middle school student that you do not know your multiplication facts, so you're dismissed? Yet when we do that to our kids who are not behaving appropriately, we are saying the exact same thing.